All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at how your daily lifestyle is quite literally shaping your physical brain structure, like right this very second. We so often hear that brain power is just, well, something you're born with, right? That you're either inherently smart or you're just not. But when we dig into the source material, modern neuroscience tells a totally different and honestly a incredibly empowering story. So we're going to explore 7 practical habits backed by real-world neuroscience. And don't worry, these aren't some obscure, complicated biohacks. They're foundational shifts to help you rebuild your focus, lock in emotional control, and literally wire your mind for success. But first, I've got a pretty serious question for you to chew on. Is your brain getting weaker every single day? Seriously, think about it. Do you ever constantly feel totally mentally exhausted, even on those days when you haven't actually done much of anything? Well, the slightly terrifying part highlighted in our research is that most of us are actively damaging our focus without even realizing it. I mean, some studies are even suggesting our average attention span has dropped below that of a literal goldfish. And it makes sense, right? Our modern environment is practically engineered to attack our attention. Apps are fiercely competing for your focus, videos are getting shorter and way faster, and those notifications, they just never ever stop. But hey, here is the absolute best part, and really the core scientific concept we're leaning on today: neuroplasticity. This is your brain's amazing ability to constantly rewire itself based on whatever you repeatedly do. Your brain's capacity is absolutely not fixed. Every single habit you have is right now either strengthening certain neural pathways or it's weakening them. If your days are packed with mindless scrolling and terrible sleep, well, your brain structurally adapts to be great at distraction. But, and this is a big but, if you intentionally build habits around deep thinking, getting moving, and learning, your brain physically adapts to strength. You are completely in the driver's seat here. So let's start with part 1, the modern brain trap, and how endless distraction is catching up to us. We really need to take a close look at how endless scrolling, those quick, cheap dopamine hits, and low attention content are actually forcing the brain to adapt to an environment of constant distraction. It's not just a matter of wasting a few hours, it's about actively damaging your own mental clarity. See, because your brain is getting completely flooded with high-level stimulation, everyday normal life actually starts feeling painfully boring. And right now, your brain is actively adapting into one of 2 states. On one side, we have the distracted brain. It's foggy, impulsive, and constantly tired because it's just overwhelmed by instant gratification. Suddenly, simple productive things like studying or doing deep work feel agonizingly slow. But on the flip side, we have the sharp brain. This one is focused, totally rational, and disciplined. And it's your daily choices that dictate exactly which one of these you end up with. Moving into part 2, it's time for reclaiming your attention and actually training that focus. If you actually want to build that sharp brain, you have got to start treating your attention span like a physical muscle. Honestly, one of the biggest reasons people feel so mentally weak today is simply because their attention span has been completely shredded. Constant task switching fundamentally reduces mental efficiency and spikes your cognitive fatigue. There is this hidden switching cost happening in your brain every single time your attention bounces between multiple things. If you can't focus for more than, say, a few minutes without tabbing over to something else or immediately grabbing your phone, your brain never gets the uninterrupted time it desperately needs to think deeply. And that perfectly explains why constantly checking your phone leaves you feeling completely drained, even if you're just literally sitting on the couch all day. Okay, so how do we fix this? We do it by setting up what we can call dopamine detox boundaries. And the real beauty here is that you absolutely do not need to be extreme. Nobody's saying you have to throw your smartphone into the ocean. You just need some practical boundaries to hit the brakes on the dopamine overload. Try just 20 minutes, just 20, of single tasking with your full, undivided concentration. Go take a walk, but leave the phone in your pocket. Eat your lunch without propping up a video to watch, or just try sitting in pure silence for a couple of minutes. When you finally give your brain some recovery time from the constant overstimulation, your natural focus starts coming back, and those simple, productive activities suddenly become enjoyable again. All right, part 3, the physical foundations. Let's talk sleep and exercise. Listen, you cannot have strong mental software if you don't fix the physical hardware first. And by hardware, I mean your literal body. You can try every complicated productivity hack on the internet, but if your physical foundations are crumbling, your brain simply cannot perform. A lot of folks try to just push through on like 5 hours of sleep, glorifying exhaustion like it's some badge of honor, but our sources use this brilliant metaphor. Sleeping 5 hours a night is exactly like trying to charge your phone with a broken cable and then wondering why it dies by noon. Sleep isn't just rest, it's critical biological maintenance. Without it, your prefrontal cortex weakens, which guarantees impulsive decisions and sky-high emotional reactivity. But with proper sleep, your brain actively flushes out waste products, organizes your memories, and completely restores your cognitive function. And then there's exercise, which, by the way, isn't just about appearance. It's a massive, massive driver for your brain chemistry. It literally floods your system with BDNF, which is a protein that basically acts like Miracle-Gro for your brain cells. And it works in this amazing psychological loop. Step 1, you feel totally lazy. Step 2, you choose to move anyway for just 20 to 30 minutes. Step 3, as a result, you build raw discipline and get that blood flowing. Every single time you get up and move, despite feeling lazy, you are actively training your brain to take action without relying on motivation. And that kind of discipline, it bleeds into absolutely every other area of your life. Which brings us to part 4, upgrading that mental software through active participation. Okay, so now that the physical hardware is humming along, we need to upgrade the actual information your brain is processing, and just as importantly, how you react to the world around you. This is where we make the jump from being passive consumers of life to active participants. The absolute simplest way to upgrade your input is this: read 10 pages daily of something just slightly above your comfort level. The key here is consuming material that forces active processing instead of just passive, shallow consumption. We're talking psychology, neuroscience, business, philosophy, something with some meat on its bones. Because when you read something challenging and you actually have to pause and ask yourself, wait, do I agree with this? How can I even apply this? You are physically strengthening your brain's analytical thinking and comprehension networks. But upgrading your software also means upgrading your emotional intelligence. A truly sharp brain isn't just book smart, it is emotionally stable. When life throws a curveball at you, you just cannot afford automatic, explosive reactions. The sources lay out these fantastic, simple steps for emotional control. Step 1, just create a 3-second pause, literally 3 seconds. That tiny little delay gives your rational brain enough time to catch up. Step 2, learn to observe the emotion. Instead of saying, I am angry, which kind of makes you the emotion, say, I notice anger. That tiny mental shift creates massive critical distance. And step 3, ensure your physical state is in check, which loops right back to that sleep and exercise we just talked about. And finally, part 5. This is the glue that holds it all together. Consistency over motivation. If you want to make all of these narrow habits actually stick, you've got to abandon the hype of temporary motivation and completely embrace consistency. Random isolated tricks don't build a strong mind, guys. Daily systems do. Just compare these two driving forces. Motivation, it's temporary, it's incredibly unreliable, and it is entirely based on your fleeting feelings. If you only act when you're motivated, your progress will inherently be completely inconsistent. Consistency, on the other hand, is repetition-based. It physically rewires your neural pathways. Small, repeated actions will absolutely always beat rare, intense bursts of effort. Reading 10 pages every single day is vastly superior to cramming 100 pages once a month. Getting a 20-minute workout in daily absolutely destroys one brutal 2-hour workout followed by 2 weeks of sitting on the couch. Because when you prioritize consistency, something truly magical happens in your neurology. Your brain starts seeing these positive actions as completely normal behavior rather than some massive forced effort. Through repetition, your entire identity shifts. You're no longer just someone trying to focus. You literally become a focused person. Discipline simply becomes your brain's new effortless default setting. You train yourself to just keep showing up no matter what, and that completely transforms your mindset from the ground up. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this provocative thought. Because we know your brain is entirely plastic, and because it's constantly rewiring itself based on your daily patterns, you have to ask yourself right now, what is your brain adapting to today? Is it adapting to endless distraction, cheap impulses, and overstimulation? Or is it actively adapting to focus, discipline, and clarity? The choice is 100% in your hands. So challenge yourself today. Take control of those daily habits, start reshaping those neural pathways, and build a brain that practically guarantees your long-term success.